Here is a quick recap of what we talked about in Uncovering the Secrets to Epic Movies, the First Key. In this video, we quickly talked about the different keys to making a great intro. These being, the first being, setting up your characters. Basically, what we talked about this was that it's important that you introduce your main characters in the beginning. You can have more characters branching off of those, but the first couple characters you must introduce your first couple characters in your intro so that you can branch off from there and meet new characters. You must make your characters likable and relatable. You must give your characters flaws and overall, show the people around them, show who builds up these characters. Next, we talked about how to introduce your world. We talked about how important it is that the world you set your story in must be introduced in the intro. Your world building must begin in the intro. If you randomly have a character suddenly go from New York City to a small farm in the country, unless it makes sense to the story and the plot and all, it doesn't work to randomly set up a world and then suddenly just change it on the dime, unless the whole point is that it plays into the story of she's missing New York City or she's so happy to be out in New York City. So that's the only ways that would work. The point is, whatever world you set up in the beginning is the world that you are supposed to stick with. Next, we talked about laying the groundworks for your magic and mystical elements in your movies. What we quickly talked about there was that it's important that whatever magical creatures, whatever scientific elements, whatever stuff like that you introduce must be introduced in the beginning so that the characters know what they're expecting in this world. If they're expecting to have Superman, then they will expect Superman. If they are expecting to have a very realistic world where everything is, boring and you just have someone at an office job all day, that would be a very boring movie to watch, but you know that you're not going to randomly have a unicorn coming in the middle of the movie because that's not the world that you set up, and that's not the magical elements you set up. If you're going to introduce magical elements, you have to introduce them in the beginning. Next, we talked about setting up your plot. This is a very good point, right? Setting up your plot is the key to making a good movie, because in your intro, you need to make it so you need to make sure your audience know what movie they're getting into. So you want to be able to, quickly tell these people, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it, and enjoy. So this is what the story is about. Enjoy it. Very quick. I can go, again, I've talked about that a lot more, and I can't really talk about it because I am running out of time already in this video. Next one is setting up your opposing force. In this one, it's important, again, to introduce your villain. You introduce what the story is about. It goes in with the plot. You introduce your villain. You introduce who is the opposing force in this story. Who is going to stop the hero from getting to where he wants to go immediately. You don't introduce your villain halfway through the movie unless you are introducing, you don't see your villain halfway through the movie, but you're kind of introducing him earlier than that. Next one, quickly, I'm already running out of time very quickly, but next one is making sure, and this is very obvious, this is very obvious, but make sure that you don't bored your audience. If you bored your audience, they're going to turn off the movie. Again, I wish I could talk about this a lot more in depth, but that's a very quick brief understanding of what we talked about in this video. Hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe, like, and comment down below if you like to see more of these recaps. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Movie Night Review. Peter Way, signing off.